On site, it appeared to be a wonderful afternoon in Ponyville. However, despite the clear skies, fresh spring flowers, and warmth from Celestia's sun, there was some pony who clearly unable to enjoy it. Rainbow Dash, to follow the sound of a familiar pony's wailing, until she came upon her favorite lounging spot near the lake. Pinkie Pie was hunched over the water, allowing her tears to flow freely into the water, causing little ripples on the otherwise undisturbed surface. "Over here, I found her!" Rainbow Dash called out to her friends, who were lagging behind her. "Thank goodness!" Fluttershy exclaimed, a little out of breath as she was unable to keep up with Rainbow's speed. "What's the matter, Pinkie Pie?" Applejack said. She, along with Twilight and the rest of their quartet, were to make their way to Pinkie's side. Pinkie looked up at her four friends, eyes wide, cheeks stained with tears and lip quivering. "We can hear your cries all the way from Ponyville. We're afraid something terrible had happened to you," Twilight said. "How do you know it was me?" Pinkie whispered, her voice cracking as she busily attempted to wipe away her tears and composed herself. "It's kind of hard not to," Rainbow Dash said, referring to the unusually loud and unpleasant sound that only Pinkie Pie could make when she was upset. "Ow!" Applejack nudged at Rainbow at the side and gave her a stern look. "What she means is, we all know well enough to hear when you're in pain, Sugar Cube," Applejack said. "Now what is this all about? You aren't physically hurt, aren't you?" "It's not like that," Pinkie said, muffling her voice in sadness and embarrassment. She hadn't expected any pony to find her so far from Sugar Cube Corner. Although she hadn't wanted the company before, she welcomed it now. Maybe her friends could ease a little sudden burden she was feeling. It's, she stammered, unable to form the words expressed from the pain she was feeling. "Yes?" Twilight encouraged. "She took him!" Pinkie finally exclaimed, followed by another ear-shattering wail. Her friends all turned their heads away and looked around, covering their ears and wincing at the pain. "Who?" Rainbow Dash finally demanded, above the roaring cries. "It's just not fair!" Pinkie said, suddenly leaping up from where she had been sitting and pulling Rainbow Dash to the ground, shaking her by the shoulders. "I loved them first," she declared. The news of this sent a shock through the four ponies. Pinkie had never once indicated that she had been in love with some pony. They had all looked at each other while Pinkie resumed much softer form of sobbing, hoping some pony would find more information. What stallion could she possibly be talking about? "Well, does he know?" Twilight asked, making sure not to let this one on, as she had no idea who Pinkie was referring to. "Yes, of course he does. I tell him all the time. Not in public, of course. He just doesn't like that kind of attention," Pinkie said thoughtfully. This at least made a little sense. Whoever this mysterious colt could be was obviously hiding his affection for Pinkie Pie around her friends. "Does he love you too?" Fluttershy asked, rubbing her friend's back and allowing Pinkie to sob onto her head instead of Rainbow Dash. Rainbow was grateful and took that back to the sky, wiping the tears from her coat in slight disgust. I think so," Pinkie said, sniffling. "I've always thought he did anyway." "Right, so who are we talking?" "And then she came along and just took him! She knew how much I loved him, spending time with him, and she took him away!" Pinkie exclaimed, effectively cutting off Rainbow Dash's question. "Who did?" Applejack asked. After a pause, Applejack amended her statement, knowing full well that Pinkie needed specific questions in order to expect specific answers. "Who took him away from you?" "Well, I always knew she was so pretty and talented, and I know how great she is with magic. I've seen it. We all have. She just has those deep blue, inviting eyes, that her heart-melting smile. I guess I never knew you would want to spend more time with her than me," Pinkie said. "Go on," Twilight encouraged. She and the others waited impatiently for clearer details. "I already knew he liked her. I mean, every pony knew he liked her. She is a likable pony. It's just that I didn't realize how jealous I was until she decided to start liking him too." Rainbow, Twilight, Fluttershy, and Applejack exchanged worried glances. Pieces were starting to fall into place, but the puzzle still remained. They had a sinking suspicion that they knew exactly who Pinkie was referring to. Twilight bit her lip and lowered and rubbed her left leg with the right one. She looked up at the other ponies, but none would look at her in the eye. It was silent from the form of agreement that Twilight would have had to be the one to approach Pinkie about this subject. Taking in a sharp breath, Twilight attempted to lecture Pinkie on the subject before the first syllable had left her mouth. Pinkie interrupted her. "Oh wait, I forgot, I have to go," Pinkie said. A little bit of her old self glimmered for a moment, but was quickly replaced by the same sorrowful sigh. "I have to be at the train station to see Maud. She's traveling to Manhattan and has to stop at Ponyville for an hour or two before it leaves again. I'll see you girls later," Pinkie said, stifling yet again another sob as she walked away, dragging her hooves as she went. "Oh my, I've never seen Pinkie this upset before," Fluttershy said sadly. "I can't believe she had a crush on Spike this whole time," Rainbow Dash exclaimed. The others looked up at her with slight confusion. "That was who she was talking about, I'm right?" "I think so, Rainbow Dash," Twilight confirmed. "Certainly sounds like it," Applejack added. "It's so strange. Why would Spike hide this from me?" Twilight wondered. "Maybe he doesn't love her back. It wouldn't look good for his image if Pinkie Pie had been hanging around," Rainbow said. "But Spike, really?" Twilight said, her brain still unable to make the connection. "What does she see in him?" "Well, he's really kind, Fluttershy said. "And loyal," Rainbow Dash added. "And to be honest, most of the time," Applejack added with a wink. "Those are certainly the best qualities, but Pinkie and Spike?" Twilight said, her voice tinged with confusion and disdain. Well, I was never happy with the whole Spike and Rarity thing either," Rainbow said. "Speaking of Rarity, how am I supposed to believe that Rarity actually turned Spike's affections how?" Applejack said. "It seems so," Twilight said, at the same tone of confusion. "I'm not sure I'm really okay with being honest. He's a baby dragon. It's one thing to have a crush on, but I really don't want them to date." "How long has he been a baby dragon for anyway?" Rainbow Dash asked. "Probably for another decade or so. Dragons age much more slowly than ponies do, and by then he'll probably be as tall as a house," Twilight said. "That'll be really hard to maintain a relationship." Fluttershy nodded sadly. "Exactly. Besides, I don't think Rarity should be making these kinds of decisions alone. Why didn't she come to us about all this mess, instead of going and make foolish decisions behind our backs?" Applejack said. "Maybe she wasn't ready to tell any pony yet, and Pinkie just overheard the conversation she wasn't meant to hear," Fluttershy said erratically. "Regardless, I think we should go have a talk with Rarity and straighten this out," Twilight said. The others nodded in agreement and made their way towards the boutique. None of them had exactly sure what to expect or even how to react to such learning the life-changing news. Rarity was just finishing unpacking her things when she heard a knock at the door. She smiled and called out a happy, "1 minute!" Spike had been over to help her unpack, and after extended stay in Canterlot, she was now angrily running about her boutique, chasing after Opalescence, who had been a spool of her thread in her mouth and refused to give it up. Rarity could see the outline of her friends through the window as she beamed. She opened the door for them, and a little bell overhead tinkled as they filled up her shop. "I was just about to come and find you girls. I wanted to tell you all about my lovely trip. It was to die for. Simply to die for," Rarity began. Rarity, I think we need to have a talk," Applejack interjected. Rarity looked up at her friends in confusion, and noted the serious face and unwillingness took her in the eye. "Whatever's the matter?" Rarity asked. Spike raced to the room, just behind Rarity, calling out Opal's name in frustration. Seeing him there, that caused the other ponies to cringe a little and look from Spike and Rarity in bewilderment. It just didn't seem possible. "Actually, Spike, would you do me a favor?" Twilight asked. Spike stopped the chase and turned to Twilight's side, happy to be distracted from the fury minutes. "What is it, Twilight?" he asked cheerfully. "Could you perhaps get a couple of things for me? I am in need of new quills and parchment," Twilight said nervously. "But didn't we get a fresh batch of those 3 days ago?" Spike said suspiciously. "Yes, we did, but, you see," Twilight said, trailing off. "She gave them to me. I'm writing a new book about it too, darling, and I figured Twilight would have had the supplies I need, Rainbow said, coming to Twilight's aid. All right, Spike said, still suspicious but accommodating the same. When he had left the boutique, Rarity's calm demeanor instantly changed. What's going on with you ponies? Why did you have to send Spike away, since when he is out over things on purpose? Rarity asked. Well, there was a time at Crystal Empire, Rainbow said, reminding her as a joke. We wanted to talk to you about your feelings, Twilight said, cutting to the point, more suspiciously for your feelings for Spike. Rarity looked surprised and caught off by the guard of Twilight's statement. Why, he is my friend, of course. Well, yes, Pinkie Pie seems to think that it's more than that, Applejack said. Whatever do you mean, darling? Rarity asked, her voice laced with concern. Well, we found Pinkie very distraught a little earlier, Fluttershy explained. She said that it was because some pony she loved was being taken away by some pony else, Applejack said. And how in Equestria does that relate to me? Rarity asked. Don't play innocent with us, Rarity. We all know about your secret desire for Spike. Apparently you think you're talented and have deep blue eyes. You can't fool me. You stole them from Pinkie Pie, and you knew all about her secret feelings for him, didn't you? Rainbow said. Rarity paused for a moment. She looked from face to face to find a glimmer of joke, but found none. After a moment, she burst into giggles. What on earth are your ponies talking about? That's an absurd story I've ever heard, Rarity said, finding it difficult to form words amidst of her laughter. Twilight and the other ponies looked at each other and joined with the fit giggles. Once they heard it sounded like that, it did sounded highly ridiculous. Once every pony calmed themselves down, Fluttershy caught a glimpse of something in the corner of her eye. Look, it's Pinkie, she said in astonishment. All the others crowded around Fluttershy and looked out the window to see her friend, with a bright smile on her face, bouncing along as if nothing happened. Pinkie Pie, Twilight called out, as she and the others fled from the boutique. Oh, there you are, you silly fillies. I've been looking for you everywhere. Oh, hey, Rarity. I'm so glad you're home, Pinkie exclaimed, throwing her hooves around her friend in a rather strong hug. Pinkie, what? Was all Applejack could muster in confusion. Pinkie released Rarity and looked at her friends in confusion. Oh, don't worry. He came back after all. Turns out he really wanted was the cookie she was hiding, Pinkie said gleefully. What? Pinkie's friends asked in confusion. Yeah, Pinkie said with a giggle. I should have known better. I guess I could be overly dramatic sometimes, but at the end, Gummy chose me. Gummy? Rainbow Dash said. All that crying and making a scene was about Gummy? Well, duh! Who else could it be? Gummy has been spurning affections all day, and when I caught him following after Pumpkin Cake, I even tried to reason with him, bribe him with goodies, but all he wanted was Pumpkin, of course. She didn't mind, but they have a lot in common, you know? They both like to bite things, but neither of them had teeth. I was super worried that she would grow too attached to him and wouldn't let me take him back. Why? What did all you think I was talking about? Pinkie said, astonished. For a long moment, no pony responded, until Applejack broke the silence with laughter. She was soon joined with the others, Pinkie and Rarity included, even though Pinkie was still completely co-founded to what her previous conclusion had been. During their fit of giggles, Twilight Sparkle had wondered what she was going to do with all that extra parchment and quills when Spike comes back.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.